Welcome, everybody. Thanks very much for being here. We're super excited to kind of share our story, our products, and our team, as well as the impact that Tech Shop has had on what we're doing. I'm here with two of my partners, Josh Corsor and Seth Beta-Heron, and online we're also joined by our other two partners, Cricket Brooks and Jennifer Brooks. It's a family and friend affair, and we've been working hard at it for quite some time. Want to thank all of our friends, family, colleagues, Tech Shop folks for their support, because without all of them, we wouldn't be where we are right now. We've been through a lot of iterations to get where we are, and what I'm going to do is turn it over to Josh to kind of take us through some of the products we've got right now, and each of us will be sharing some more information as we go. Again, thanks very much, and for those who are watching online, look at your screen. There's a Q&A tab. I believe it's in your top right-hand corner. Feel free to submit questions. We'll be taking those questions and answering online. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, there should be an icon in the middle of your screen on the left side to take you to the Google Plus page so that you can participate and type in those questions. So with that, I'll turn it over to Josh.
Thanks.
Off we go.
Sorry for the late start, a little technical difficulties here. And thank you again, as Seth said, thank you all for coming. This is great. You made time out of your day. Thank you. And for those of you watching online, we do actually have other people in the room, we promise. So we're here today to talk about the product we're launching. We just put it up on sale. We've got a handful of sales already. We're pretty excited. It is a set of products to put a manual transmission into a car that never came with a manual transmission. In this case, it's the mid-90s Chevy Impala SS. It's definitely a niche area, but me and Seth Beta-Heron used to run a similar business years ago, and we sold almost 200 of our kits with that business for the same car. And so if you had told us we would sell 200 kits, we would have said you're crazy, but we did. So hey, there's a business here. So here we are, we're back with a second generation pedal design, and we've got a number of other kits in the product pipeline that we'll be talking about as well. So first off, the biggest challenge in this process is a car with an automatic. What's it missing? Third pedal, hence our name. So that was the biggest challenge we had, was making a clutch pedal assembly that fit in the car, that felt right, and then actually functioned. We studied a lot of different things to make this work. This here is a pedal assembly from a Camaro. And what you want to do, clutch pedal, right? All the clutch pedal does, it actuates this master cylinder. I hope that all of you would say. And that's how your clutch works. So we're using the 6-speed manual transmission that's used in a bunch of Camaros. It's also the same transmission used in every Dodge Viper ever made. Same transmission used in about 15 years of Corvettes, in certain Ford Mustangs, Aston Martins. What else? It's been used, it's quite a versatile transmission called the Tremec T56 6-speed. Very strong transmission, great for performance, and that's what the Camaro used. So in developing this, we looked at the brake pedal that comes out of the Impala. Not that pretty looking, but it's a pretty simple device. It's just a mechanical device, right? And then there's some electrical components that we'll talk about in a little bit. So what we did was we made a design that you take this out and you put our design in, and then voila, you got your clutch pedal and your brake pedal. So you guys can see how this would all fit in the same spot. There's not a lot of room under there, so part of the big trick was designing something that fit in the car, that of course has the functionality. There are a number of other design considerations I won't bore you with, but let me just tell you that there's not a lot of space under there, and you're trying to get a lot of hardware in there. And that was really the biggest challenge of all this. And that's where Tech Shop really, we started this endeavor, and then we discovered Tech Shop right in our backyard, and that was really, as Seth said, really the catalyst for this whole thing, and really helped us out quite a bit. Of course, all the resources here, the people who helped us figure all this machinery out. It was a lot of fun and a lot of work. In terms of the prototyping process and how do we develop something like this, all the machines need some sort of computer code. So CAD, computer-aided design. First, we had to learn CAD. And then we made stuff out of plastic parts using the laser cutter that Tech Shop has. And took classes on CAD at Tech Shop, took classes on all the machinery here. And we're able to prototype in plastic and then glue it together. And this is a cheaper, kind of quicker way to prototype. And then we could see what fits or doesn't fit. So it took a number of iterations. I won't bore you with all the iterations, but there are a number of iterations. We're going to go through some of our other products first, and then I'll come back and go through details of this kit. I mentioned the clutch pedal, just to give you a quick preview. In addition to the clutch pedal, you need a way to support the transmission called a cross member. So we designed one that works with the manual transmission. And then inside your car, you now have a stick shift lever coming up where it didn't exist before. And so we made something nice to finish that off as well. But I'll come back to the details of the Impala kit in a few minutes. Seth, do you want to talk about do you want to do the Charger kit next? Or G-Body? All right. Let's say. Our writers scripted the whole thing. We're just
not very good.
This is Seth Betaharan, one of our partners and one of the founding members with me of B-Body High Performance, our old business.
So, a lot of what Josh talked about with the B-Body, the Impala kit, is what we're going to translate into the G-Body kit. So it's basically taking the factory piece and making it mount the third pedal. The G-Body is made from 78 to 88. It's Oldsmobile Cutlass, Chevy Malibu, Chevy Monte Carlo, El Camino, Buick Regal. So and those were very popular cars actually in the 80s. So there are a lot of them out there. They're easy to work on. It's the last intermediate sized GM vehicle that's full frame rear wheel drive. So it makes it a great car for people to hot rod, easy to work on. And so there's, we're seeing in the market, there's really no, like Josh mentioned, we had a lot of success with the Impala kit. There's no equivalent for the G-Body currently that would incorporate all the things, the construction, the switches you need for clutch and drop, cruise control, all that. So, and we've had a lot of inquiries about it. So we believe there's a market for that. So basically, it's now that we have the pedal developed, it's a matter of making that fit into the G-Body. So if I wouldn't have a G-Body brake pedal with us, but it's not, you're going to be looking at a similar mechanism to this. The geometry would be a little bit different. We just need to adapt the current one to fit that. Like I said, it would have all the features that we have in our Impala. You'd then be able to have the G-Body kit as well. Should we do B-Body also? Sure. Okay. Along similar lines, we've also had a lot of inquiries into the older B-Bodies. So it's 77 through 90 Chevy Caprice and Impala. Very similar chassis-wise to the newer Impala. The firewall and brake pedal and whatnot are different. So it would require different bracketry instead. Those cars never came with a stick shift. So, and there's no kit currently available to install one in there. One thing with the G-Body kit is there are other manufacturers that make parts for mounting the transmission, engine mounts and whatnot. So that would be more of just a pedal. Whereas the B-Body kit for the older B-Bodies, that would be a more comprehensive kit like we currently have for the Impalas. Because there's no one makes parts for that to do a stick shift. So it would be the cross member, various connectors, hardware that you need to install that. And that kind of thing. And again, like I mentioned, that's another kit that we've had a lot of inquiries about through our website. Just people saying, hey, do you have a kit? We see you make this one kit. Do you have something for this car? So we believe there's potential for that as well. Those, I didn't mention what models that is. It's 77 to 90. It's the Caprice Impala. It would also fit the D-Body, which is Cadillac Fleetwood.
We have Cadillac customers.
We do.
We do. Yeah. Station wagon customers, the Roadmaster Caprice. Yeah.
Yeah. For a few, those were I think were the major models. For fewer years, there was a Buick LeSabre wagon and a sedan that was in that model. Pontiac I think had a version at some point as well. So, and all our kits, like I said, will offer the same quality, all the features that we have in the B-Body kit. The ability to use aftermarket or the F-Body master cylinder, which gives you some versatilities depending what you're trying to do. I think that covers it. Is that it?
Great.
The next kit that we've got on the drawing board is a kit that's had a ton of interest. We've got a lot of inquiries from folks looking for a solution. And that's for the 2006 to 2015 Dodge Chargers. 4-door car, meets our kind of big, fast car criteria, never came with a stick. The Dodge Challenger, the 2-door version, different vehicle, but same kind of similar horsepower. The particular car that we have as our prototyping car, which is on our website, www.3pedals.com. 470 horsepower and 470 foot-pounds of torque. And there are a number of, the inquiries have just been incredible. Nobody has managed to come up with a full kit to actually accomplish this. We've broken that down into 3 components. There's a mechanical component, an electrical component, and a cosmetic component. Being that it's a newer car, the electrical side of things is really the biggest challenge. I think we've got the mechanical side pretty well buttoned up. Cosmetically, using some of the machinery and tech shop and our skills in CAD and whatnot, we'll be designing custom interior pieces that will create a factory-like finish inside the vehicle once that conversion is taken apart. It's put back together, excuse me. We've put together a strategic alliance with a well-known computer firm that is helping us work through the electronic intricacies of the communication that will allow us to put that transmission in the car. And as Josh mentioned, the TR6060, T56, similar transmissions. That's the transmission we're going to be using. The big challenge on this one is that Dodge Charger is huge. The dashboard is really long, so it becomes a shifter position issue. But we're very confident of having that to market probably late second quarter. We look at our products as kind of niche products. When we get to the Dodge Charger, although it's a niche product, we think that the market itself is much larger. We've gotten great feedback. We went to an industry show called SEMA, and the support from the dealership network, the aftermarket dealership network, has just been outstanding. So we're real excited about that product as well. I'm going to slide on to B-Body, and then I'll come back and talk about the other items.
So now we'll go into some of the details of the kit. So I could bore you with technical talk, but I'll keep it kind of straightforward. So this master cylinder, again, the master cylinder, you're moving hydraulic fluid when you press the clutch pedal. This is a commonly available master cylinder from Tilton. There's one from Willwood that will fit. These are great, but some people already have a, try to get this on the camera. Some people, move the camera down a little bit here. Some people already have a master cylinder from a Camaro that they want to use. And we designed this, tilt it down a little bit more. We designed our pedal to very easily accommodate both styles of master cylinder. It's always easier with my homework pen. So most people are going to run one or the other and not change back and forth, so they won't have to do this. I'm just going to show you how easy it is to use the other one. So this comes out. This has an adjustable length push rod if you want to fine tune your pedal height. So the Camaro master cylinder has very different geometry. And so in order to use it, we've designed in this adapter block that we sell separately. And with this adapter block, you can just bolt right up to what we have. I'll spare you the full details. I'm not fully attaching here, just to go quickly here. But with this adapter block, you can see how this would use the Camaro master cylinder. And again, so people who have the used Camaro master cylinder on hand or have a good deal on one, go ahead and use it. Otherwise, you can use the universal master cylinders from Willowwood and Tilton. And because these master cylinders each require a different amount of travel, we have an adjustable stopper here. So depending on your master cylinder setup, you can just adjust this stop longer or shorter to get the right amount of travel. So by the way, all of our products are, as you know, designed in the US. They're manufactured in the US as well. We like to keep it local where possible. Other design features of the pedal. I'm gonna show a little comparison here. But this is the factory Camaro pedal. This is from a 93 to 97. I think the 98 to 2002 are pretty similar. But you've got this is a simple shaft here that the pedals ride on. And you've got thin little plastic bushings that they ride on. We took this similar design, we took it a step further. Instead of these thin little plastic bushings, you can probably see in there, we've got heavy duty bronze bushings here called oil-like bushings that are impregnated with oil. And we've got Delrin washers as spacers. So it's going to be a lifetime of maintenance-free operation. In terms of other design features, so all these switches here, you got your brake lights, cruise control, so when you press the brake, your cruise control turns off. And we've got the same thing, cruise control on the clutch pedal. So if you have your cruise control on and put your clutch pedal down, the cruise control will turn off. In terms of the transmission cross member, we don't have one with us. The only prototype is in one of our cars, and they're being manufactured very soon. This is the center part of the cross member. The cross member is about 4 feet wide. It just spans across the frame rails. And this is what holds the transmission. We used to sell a similar product. We've updated our product, though, to work with the newer version of the T56 called the T56 Magnum. So either the old T56 or the new one will both work with this cross member, which is an important design consideration for us because the old ones aren't available anymore. Turn to the interior. This is actually kind of one of my favorite parts. So this is the stock console in the Impala. Move the camera back this way. I'm sorry. Yes, good. So if you're sitting in the driver's seat, this is going to be between the two front seats, right? So we designed a custom piece to your stick shift is going to come through right about here. This is kind of one of the more interesting parts. We designed a custom insert. That's vacuum form. This is actually our old design. The new design is in progress right now. The new design will have some added features, but basically, I won't show you how it's done, but you take off this trim, you cut some material out, and then our new piece pops right in, and then your manual transmission shifter will come right through there. Can you put the camera up a little bit? So when you're in your car, it's going to look completely factory. One of the best compliments we think to us is the best compliment we got was people would get in and go, "Wow, it looks factory." And if they didn't know it was done aftermarket, they would have never known. So that's one of the best compliments we can get is that it looks original. So as part of the design process, some of you may be wondering how you design this stuff, and boy, a lot of it's real tricky, but it's a lot of fun. But back to Tech Shop and how we use Tech Shop. There's some rapid prototyping that actually fits the bill quite nicely. So to vacuum form something, you've got to make a mold, which is fairly labor intensive. Before you make that mold, you want to make sure your dimensions are right. And so by doing the dimensions in CAD, we can then 3D print the pieces, and then we can test the 3D printed pieces. Unfortunately, the 3D printers are kind of small. You can't do this big a piece in most 3D printers. So we print it off in sections, but here you can see how we can test fit the pieces by 3D printing them. And then instead of spending thousands of dollars, tons of hours on a mold, we let the machine do all the hard work, and then we just make changes as needed. The other thing I forgot to mention about both our pedal and our cross member is that we've had engineering analysis done called finite element analysis. which helps us evaluate the strength of the materials. And we hired an engineering firm to do that for us. And based on those results, we did make some changes. But bottom line, the product we're going into production with, it's totally exceeds all the thresholds we had set out in terms of strength and durability. So we're pretty confident it'll have a lifetime of trouble-free operation. We've actually got one of our customers who emailed us recently. He's got about 160,000 miles on his old conversion kit we sold him, and still running fine. So to us, that's like right up there with the best compliment. Looking factory, the close second best is it lasts forever. So that's all I had on the V-body kit. Do you want to talk about the new space?
Sure. One of the more exciting, if not, well, no, I'd say one of the more exciting developments we've had in the last few days. We've been working real hard to find a location to actually do our prototyping, do our installations, do customer service, shipping, order processing, etc. And we've been in negotiations for some time on a brand new 6,500 square foot shop out in Sterling, Virginia, which is right behind Dulles Airport. So from a shipping perspective, it's a great location. Additionally, it's about 4 miles from the metro location. So if we have customers who want to do drop-offs and jump on the metro and head back to DC, so be it. And that metro will be open in a couple of years. Right now, we actually took possession of that space on February 1st. As I said, about 6,600 square feet. We're working with one of our friends, one of my good buddies who's in the room, Robbie LaFalle, a general contractor, to do the build out of that space. And we're going to be phasing that space, that build out, so that we can get in there as quickly as we can. We like to think of that space, it's going to be very representative of the brand that we're building. You know, we're not your typical mom and pop shop around the corner, where we view ourselves as at that higher level where everything is clean, neat, perfectly placed, great color coordination, well designed, well executed. So we're spending a lot of time on the design of that space to ensure that it meets our brand that we're building. As a result of that, we've been able to secure some dealers from the industry. I don't want to mention specific names yet. You'll see them posted on the website soon, because we're just finishing up some details. But the shop, as it's being developed right now, will give us the ability to do all the prototyping of our own parts. It will give us the ability to do installations of third-party vendor parts as well. Some of these very well-known companies that are in the aftermarket. Additionally, it will provide a space for customers to come and see our products. We're going to have specific display areas, photography studio. Additionally, just from a revenue generation perspective, we're going to be doing some detail services on vehicles. Everything from kind of hand washes up to basic paint correction. We've also got a strategic alliance with a well-known detailing company in the area that can do some of the higher end stuff like films and coatings, which is one of the biggest drivers in the business right now. We couldn't be more excited about the location. We've been looking for the right place for probably the last 6 months, and we've been spending a lot of time with this one, making sure that we design it just the way we need it, so that we can grow it in the future. I'm trying to think if we've got any other items in there that
to go over. So if you're done, cool.
Yeah, I think those are kind of the high points. For those of you out there who are listening, we will also be showing project cars that we can do conversions on with our products and with some of the products that we're representing other folks on. So it's going to be a really unique place with a lot more to come. So what you're just seeing is the surface of what we've been doing in our proprietary stuff. Stay tuned. Keep looking at the Three Pedals website, threepedals.com. We've also, as you see, we've got a YouTube channel. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. You can find us wherever you need us. Pick the phone, call us. We're happy to talk to you, happy to answer emails. We're enthusiasts. This is something we're really passionate about, and all of us have made that commitment to kind of leave the 9-to-5 world to chase our dream to build these products and services to support the enthusiast community. One of the things I like to say is this isn't work. As much work as it is, it's the most fun I think I've had in my entire career. With that, let me turn it back to Josh and thank everybody for being here and for listening online. And again, apologies for the technical delays, but I think we got it straight.
And we are enthusiasts. You don't believe me, and look at the socks I wear. My sock. Won't show you my underwear. So there's a number of tools we're working on as well. As we've done all these car builds over the years, we've identified some tools that really should exist that don't exist. So one of them is when you change the manual transmission, you often need to change your rear axle gear ratio because the transmissions are just geared differently. And so as part of that, this is part of what's inside a rear axle on a full-size Chevy. There's this nut on here. Your drive shaft would come into here, and then this, when you drive, this turns, and this turns your rear wheels. This nut, getting it off, it's kind of hard. Getting it on, you've got to tighten it with about 300 pound-feet of force, which is a lot, and so you need a really long bar to do it. And when you tighten that nut, what you're doing, you'd have bearings on each side here, and you're compressing the bearings closer and closer together. And there's something here called a crush sleeve. This is steel. This will actually crush as you tighten that nut. And again, you've got to go like 300 pound-feet of force, which means with a 1-foot lever, 300 pounds. So if you had a longer lever, it's a lot easier, right? So as you tighten that, you're crushing this collar here. And then as I've learned, if you crush it too far, you've got to take it apart, start over again, and recrush it. You want to crush it just enough where the bearing preload, the amount of force it takes to turn this, is a certain amount. And I've learned the hard way that if you go like 1/8 of a turn too far, you're starting over and there's another hour of work. So as part of doing that, the tool we designed, and this is the production version. Most of you in the audience will recognize this, just a big breaker bar. You can use this on the nut, right? But how do you hold this from spinning? Well, this is what we designed here. Use the water jet machine to cut. This will fit a number of different rear axles when we're all said and done. But then this then gives you the leverage you need to tighten and loosen that nut. I have not found a better way to do it, so we're hopeful of selling a few of these as well. We've got a number of other tools we're working on, not to show you right now, but the other one is a holding fixture for these transmissions for the T56. When you're installing or removing it, they tend to roll around. They've got like a curved bottom, and so they're very hard to hold stable. And so we've got a fixture we're working on that will hold that stable. So that's some of the tools in process. And I think that's our dog and pony show for the moment. Got anything else? Yes.
Just let them know if anybody out watching us has any questions, feel free to push them through on the Q&A app, and we'll be sure to answer them.
A question right here.
Yeah. Yes.
Are you protecting yourself with patents on these things?
It's a great question. Thank you. Yes, our pedal is patent pending. We filed a provisional application in September, and we'll do the full application in the coming months. But yeah, there's a number of features of this that we haven't done the full patent search yet, but there are definitely some things here that we think are able to be protected.
The tools too, everything that you're.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah, the tools will as well. Exactly. Absolutely. And then as Seth Beta-Haran mentioned, for the G-body and older B-body applications, we think most of this assembly will be recyclable. You know, some of the mounting points to the car, these 4 bolts here and this bolt here, those mounting points will change, but once you get those mounting points right, everything else should be largely recyclable is what we're planning. So
Those two cruise
Yes.
control
Mhm.
triggers, if you don't have cruise control, are they removable?
yeah, it's a good question. You thought right up. And actually, I think we put on the website, take $25 off if you don't have cruise control, because you don't get a connector and you don't get a wiring harness. All these connectors that we use, by the way, are factory connectors. So just a simple, it's like a $5 switch we use. And it's like a $20 harness that plugs into it. Yeah, this is what your Camaro or there are probably hundreds of applications that use this exact same switch, very easy to find.
Just with an online question.
Yeah, what's the question?
What kind of mileage can one expect after the manual transmission's installed?
Well, the challenge is it's much more fun to drive. Depends how you drive, but no, it's a good question. In general, manual transmissions are more efficient than automatic transmissions. Automatic transmissions tend to take about 18 to 20% of your engine's power. Your whole driveline does rather. So from the engine all the way to your actual wheels, your driveline sucks about 18% of the power with an automatic, and with the manual, it's about 15%, 1.5. So manuals are more efficient. When you go from a 4-speed automatic to a 6-speed manual, you do have more gear ratios. So in theory, you should be able to eke out better mileage, but these are pretty fun to drive when you convert them, so you probably won't. But you can if you want to. But the other thing, the 6-speed manual that we use, it's 5th and 6th gear are overdriven. So a lot of manual transmissions is 1 gear is overdriven. And so what that means is that on the highway, our cruising RPMs are actually pretty normal. A lot of people are concerned that they'll have crazy RPM on the highway, but no, with the 6-speed manual, you get the best of both worlds: great acceleration, great highway cruising. It's a really flexible transmission with a broad gear ratio. So yes, I would go on record as saying you can get better mileage if you're so inclined, but I don't. Yeah.
Ballpark cost of a conversion just for the consumer?
Yeah, good question. So there's quite a bit involved actually, and we're keeping it kind of simple. And what we're showing here is all the stuff we design, what we call our proprietary products. We sell a kit with the stuff you need to affect the conversion, and then there's a long list of things that the user can select options from. So we sell our kit for $1,750. If you don't have an Impala and don't need the console, it's $1,550. And then on top of that, you need a transmission, a flywheel, a clutch. You need to change your rear gear ratio. So all in all, you can do some of the stuff used or on sale. If you go all brand new, kind of top of the line, it's about $7,600 plus labor. And that's the other thing, labor I didn't mention. We designed this for the home mechanic to be able to install. I tell people it's a lot of steps, but there's no one step that's really hard. If you changed your brakes, you could do it. There's a learning curve, but it's not rocket science. We charge $1,900 for the full installation. We also have some shops around the country that install their old kit that will offer to install our new kit. So if you're in California, for example, we can find someone near you to help with that. And if you are on the other end of the spectrum and want to save some money or on a tighter budget, by going with a used transmission and some different parts, you can get the cost down under $5,000. If you're really crafty, maybe lower, but that's sort of the range, sort of $5,000 to $7,500 for all the stuff. Yeah.
I think we may have a couple more questions coming in.
Okay, good.
Do you want to mention the gearing change related to the gas mileage?
Sure. Yeah. So the gear ratio is always hard to explain, but if I had a car, you could ride it, it'd be easier.
Yeah.
But the automatic transmission is geared a particular way. When you change to the manual transmission, it's geared much taller, meaning that every rotation of the engine will result in more rotations. Let's get backwards. It's like a lower number is a higher. But so to compensate for that, you change your rear axle gear ratio. I've only got one side of the rear gears here, but you change it and compensate. And then speaking to the Impalas that we're talking about with this kit, the stock car at around 70 miles an hour, your engine is turning about 2,000 RPM, And with the 6-speed conversion and the gear ratio you recommend, again, at 70 miles an hour, you're turning about 2,000 RPM. But you'll find it's a lot more fun, as I mentioned earlier, along the way.
Good.
Some other features, by the way, we'll be offering. We don't have it available yet to preview yet, but these arms are steel. They're something called grade 80 steel, which is similar to chromoly steel. Has about twice the yield strength of mild steel. So they're nice and clean and slim. And we'll be offering a billet aluminum pedal upgrade if you want something a little cosmetically prettier. That'll be out in the coming months. Another design consideration I forgot to mention. So when this is in the car mounted position, you'll find the pedals are hanging right about like this, where from the side they're dead even, from the front they're dead even. Our old kit, the clutch pedal was higher. People didn't like it. You know, you see new Porsches with that design, but we understand people don't like it. So we tried, one of the design considerations that took a lot of work was getting these pedals to line up just as you see here. The other thing, we're not going to explore the depths of my pedal trivia knowledge, but these pedals, the spacing on them is 5 1/4 inches, which is what a Camaro is. Corvette is about 5 1/8 inches. And then what you don't see here, the gas pedal is about 2.5 inches over, which is actually what GM recommends in a spec of theirs that I found. Questions? Everybody's got their credit cards out. Cool. So that's all I had. Any questions or closing?
Well done, Logan.
Why don't you boys come on up here? So again, we want to thank everyone at Tech Shop. Some of the Tech Shop people are here with us. I could probably name most of the ones who helped outside of this room. I won't get them all, but thank you all very much. Without you guys, I mean, without Tech Shop, this would have taken longer and been more expensive. What's that? Oh yeah. So our first kit was made a little more redneck engineering. This was the first clutch pedal that we made, first welding project. But you can see when you have the ability to have a water jet cut your parts, you can see you get much more precision than when you're doing it with a handsaw. And then this was not engineering certified at all, but it worked for a little while.
Little backyard mechanic.
So when we developed this one, we then had a professional fabricator prettied up a little bit. And what you see, our old design, we got black on black. Our old design was just a standalone clutch pedal assembly. And it worked, but our new design is really the way the factory would have done it, if they had done it in these cars. So we think the extra functionality of this, as well as the improved ergonomics, really big leap ahead.
And again, I think what the market will really appreciate is the way in which this is built, that all fits within the kind of brand that we're building. Everything we build will be to this type of a spec. There's not going to be anything that's kind of half done. We'd rather take more time, spend more money, do it right, build a good reputation, which will help us in the long run because we want to be around for a long time. So with that, thank you all again very much.
Thank you.
Anybody online, thanks for being there. Send us your emails, phone calls, hit up the website. Happy to answer any questions you've got.
We have a couple more questions. Great.
So first question is, how long should it take to install the kit?
It's a great question. I've installed almost 20 of these kits myself, and takes me with some, a helper part of the time, probably almost 2 full days, call it 2 8-hour days, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. That's with a lift. If you're working in your garage, add a little bit of time. If it's your first time, add a little bit of time. So I would say if you're sort of what I'll call the average home mechanic, you've done a few things, probably a few days, 3 days, what you need. If you can get a friend to help, that's great. There are certain things you need to do, or an extra set of hands is helpful.
I think what else is important there too, we're spending a great deal of time creating video instructions and photographic documentation of the entire process, including templates to do the installation, to do the cutting, whatever cutting is necessary. The kits will include everything from an assembly to a zip tie. So everything is there, packaged properly, with instructions included, plus online instructions, as well as telephone customer support.
That's a great point. Thanks for reminding me. People used to be scared of the cutting of the floor. So, you know, when that shifter comes through the floor, you've got to cut your car. People are nervous about cutting their car, which makes sense. So I used to tell people, here's how you do it. Don't worry, you're fine. But no, now we're going to include a template to put that in the car and just foolproof the whole thing and really make it a little simpler and take away some of that fear. Yeah, the videos are in progress. We've got car in surgery in the garage right now, serving as the test case. But yeah, we'll have full videos on every last bit of the install shortly.
And once we get the shop up and running, we'll be doing a grand opening event for customers, potential customers, family, friends, and whatnot. So stay tuned.
One other question is about the finish on the new pedal assembly. Will it be powder coated?
It's a great question. Yeah, so this is the raw steel. The pedals will be powder coated gloss black, like these pedal arms you see here. I had a nice gloss black one, but I had to make one change to the pedal, so here we are. But we'll also offer different colors for an upcharge. So if you want red or blue or whatever, we'll do custom stuff happily all day long. But the standard will be gloss black. So the whole assembly you see here will be in that gloss black.
And the pedals also?
Yeah, these pedal pads are Camaro pedal pads. This is a standard rubber one. We're also offering an upgraded one from the ZL1 Camaro, which is like a metal and rubber piece for just a few dollars extra. But yeah, these are just standard GM parts we use here.
And what's important to know is because of the dealer statuses and the wholesale accounts we have, any of these parts and pieces and whatnot, we can offer at very, very competitive prices.
Oh yeah, and full e-commerce will be live on the site sometime this month in February.
Exactly. As I look at our our e-commerce developer standing in the back of the room. So, great.
Any other questions? No. Okay, well, thanks for the questions online. We appreciate it. That's awesome.
Great.
Thank you, sir. Pause it,